So, Pierce, welcome. First of all, tell us how to pronounce your full name because in all of our years of friendship, I haven't mastered that.
I was about to say, like, you introduced me with my old name, and I'm like, that's not my name anymore. I have evolved. We have evolved. My wife allowed me to evolve into this new person. You about to get in trouble, madam. All right. But because I love you as an individual, I will give you a scoop for how to say this name. You say the name as O. Say that first. O in the
Oh,
back. He
he,
clo he
he,
lay. Last one is lay. It's very simple. Otlhogile.
he,
Takes practice, huh?
oh. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Circle Back Club. This is the podcast no leader wants you to listen to because, hey, here we are naming the truth and building solutions for a better world of work with each other. Today, we're going to talk about what actually happens when we start doing the work instead of just talking about it or making a slide deck about it. I think it's safe to say that work across so many sectors trains us to treat real world human problems like abstract strategy exercises. And certainly in my years of working with foundations and in global development organizations, I feel like we mostly live in our heads, and far too many people are making decisions, in some instances, about a country that they've never been to, working with language groups without ever speaking their language. And so, to help make sense of all of it, I am happy to introduce all of you to my friend, collaborator, partner in intellectual quest, Dr. Pierce Gordon. He's a scholar, he's a facilitator, he's a social innovation catalyst who specializes in helping people and organizations organize chaos into real strategic change. And I think most importantly, get out of their heads. So, Pierce, welcome.
My name is Pierce Otlhogile-Gordon. You can say OG if you would like, if it is easier. It is no sweat off my back. It's a pleasure to connect with you in this call, friend. Let's get into it. I'm ready. I'm hyped. Let's go now.
What
As
is
well.
embodied knowledge?
It is knowledge that doesn't stay in your head. That's simple. To be clear, I have way too many degrees. I myself hold a PhD, and the main mechanism we use to learn about the word is to learn the words, right? To read a massive amount of books and to talk with people about what we're engaging with. One of my fields is international development, and you learn that in a place that usually doesn't go to the locations that you're studying, right? That's a part and parcel of the problem. And this isn't only in academia. This is anyone that considers themselves a knowledge laborer when they use frameworks, when they use platforms to help support companies, nonprofits, philanthropies doing this type of work. It means our system creates scaffolds to separate us from the people that are experiencing the struggles that we're learning about every single day. It is focused on what's here. However, we all know what it feels like to know something for real, to know it in your bones. Whether or not, I'm not only talking about intuition. I mean, for instance, the amount of mental preparation it takes, for instance, to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner, right? What it feels like, what it smells like, what it sounds like in a place like that. For instance, I myself am a percussionist. I haven't picked up my drums in a very long time, but being able to know
What? Why am I finding this
what are
about
we
you
talking
now,
about right now?
4 years
Don't let
later?
me pick it up at this moment. I'm ready to pick up these drums right now, but I, after years, know what it feels like to march onto a football field and play with an entire band and stay in lockstep with people that are yards away from you, right? Embodied knowledge. And the point being that when trying to make good in the world, trying to learn about it, trying to connect with others, and trying to create new things, many of the times what we're learning we don't actually try to exercise. And it means, for instance, like going to a gym and just learning how to do a push up by reading a paragraph.
A way that I describe it to other people is you've watched a lot of videos about swimming, instructional videos about swimming. Maybe you've watched Olympic level swimmers swim, but none of that matters when you're actually in the water. And the idea that we could say anything about swimming without ever
Swum,
having
swam,
swum.
swum, whatever it is.
That feels like we wouldn't
Swim,
do that,
swim.
right? Swum. And I use that example a lot of times because people can immediately see how dangerous that is. You don't want to watch a bunch of videos about swimming and then jump into the deep end of a swimming pool. There's a good chance that you're going to experience suffering, right? You possibly drown. Because
Yes,
you put something like swimming, that becomes so instantly clear. Is like, of course, you don't think you can swim by watching videos about swimming. You have to actually get in the water, you have to get your reps in. So, okay, but let's go back to why are we talking about this? So, one of the things that we try and do a lot and make explicit a lot on this particular podcast is the dynamics of white collar work and the dynamics of sort of modern workplaces. And you and I have seen this with our peers. White collar professionals feel very comfortable analyzing systemic issues from behind the screen, but have a tendency to really freeze when it comes to relational community level work. I'm curious, why do you think folks are getting stuck when they're trying to learn about social change from a distance? And why is it that they're not able to kind of rally and go somewhere away from the screens?
I'm glad you ended on from the screens. White collar professionals need exposure therapy to the things that they're trying to affect and change. That's what I think is the most important piece, right? So here's when you said freeze, right? And I think back to my years in therapy, learning about the specific ways that I exhibit stress when I'm trying to change parts of my life or change parts of other people's lives. And me, myself, am a freezer in every way, shape, and form. And I needed exposure therapy. And that means not only talking about what it feels like to be in these spaces, but reintroducing myself in those environments to learn how to be, cope, practice, decide, and impose my power into those spaces that are important to me. Because in social change work, it's absolutely the same because you being exposed to it means you can not only build a skill for it, you can learn about what doesn't work, and you can learn about how to conduct yourself well in these environments that need your expertise, need your labor, especially. I'll give you an example, right? I was a part of a social change initiative that brought makerspaces to different parts of the deep south of the US. The core theory of change of this work is get creatives, get local entrepreneurs, get kids close to the things that they're building so they can create creative capacity, so that they can understand what it means to build 3D printers and different wood burners and different ways to connect with the practical things that can help them run their businesses, artistic or otherwise. And why not bring that to everybody else? Here's the point though, to make that project work, we needed to engage with the community. And many people love talking about community building. They love saying community centered research or evaluation or different frameworks and methods, and haven't talked to a person at their house. They've never actually connected with them and said, "How you doing? How's life? What do you care about? What governs your day? And this is a thing that I'm focused on. Do you know anybody that's interested in this work? Here's this issue that I care about. What do you think about it? And could you support me on this initiative?" In fact, it was so prevalent that we were around the type of people that didn't value this skill, that the people that shut down the initiative were those white collar professionals that saw it instead of an opportunity to mobilize and garden real community engagement. They saw it as a pawn, like we were chess pieces on a chessboard. The exposure that you have to an experience governs how much you care about it, how much you value the labor people are putting in to that work. So when you're separated from those experiences, it's not only you lose the skill to do so, you lose the value of the work that you put in. And that's part of the reason in our current environment why so many different very big tech companies, very big political organizations are trying to find ways for us to separate each other from each other, but also the work it takes to do any one of these crafts. we got to practice some more. We got to get in the gym for all of these crafts and skills.
It makes so much sense. So many of the words in social change work have been weaponized or they're abused. And one of those, I think, is proximity. And it kind of goes hand in hand with community. People will say we hire folks that are proximate to this. Our program officers have been proximate to this issue. And recently, I was doing research for a piece that I wrote in Forbes, and some of the people that I spoke to, researchers in philanthropy, they said to me, right now, program officers and foundation executives are annoyed because they're getting so many requests. And I said, hold on. People are annoyed that they're getting, and they're like, yeah, people are really annoyed that they're getting all of these requests. And it makes them feel guilty or it makes them feel shame because they can't deploy that capital. But within that, there's a percentage of the foundation, like employees, that are just irritated. Like they don't want to deal with this
Influx of potential
influx.
partners and projects and
And
relationships.
that has just stayed with me because you said earlier about this bit about the white collar funders didn't see the work that you all were doing as a garden to cultivate, but a chessboard of philanthropic power. Well, in this moment, who needs funding are those organizations that are proximate to communities that are on the ground. They're not big and sexy shops that are going to make it through the next couple of years. They're the small organizations, and nobody is building social political capital by funding those players. And so they don't get funded. And the funders themselves, the people that are sitting in these seats where they have the ability to deploy capital, they haven't done the reps. They haven't been to the gym. They don't have the reps. And so they can't really feel into
Let's be
the
specific.
impact
They
of their
haven't done the
choices.
reps to connect with the people that will be affected by their power, affected by their privilege. Because in this situation you just explained to me, it feels just, I feel so exhausted by a organization with money getting frustrated about having the opportunity to use that money. Huh? Woo! Let me tell you a thing about myself, right? So I'm not like many of the people on this podcast. Let me clarify. For all of the other people that have been on Aparna Rae's fantastic Circle Back Club podcast, I'm not powerful like y'all. You've been in the so many different directorial positions and been working in initiatives and projects for years at a time and work with big tech companies or what have you. Listen, I don't even know all of them because I'm jealous. If I'm going to be real, I'm jealous of so many things that you've been able to accomplish, and I'm glad. Thank you for doing that fantastic work. But you all have consistent, long-term, powerful relationships with many of those initiatives and what they do. These people that are saying, oh my God, woe is me that I get to spend money in different environments. I have had a portfolio career before the buzzword was created, my friends. I have hopped and skipped and jumped from opportunity to opportunity. Please hire me. Please connect me with stuff that makes me recognize all of the people that have gotten out of organizations, that have tried to build out different companies, that have tried to build out consultancy collaboratives. And I see them talking about what they would do with the power that they'd offered that your people are complaining about. Oh, so mad. I'm so mad. That's to be said, though. I think this is a learning opportunity here for emotional regulation, right? When you're given power, what are you going to do with it? And how are you going to conduct yourself to be able to distribute that power to what actually matters, right? Because if you don't connect with the folks that are affected by your craft, you got to know your privilege for the work that you can do, because in social change work, your work affects others. So let's remember that it's not about us in any one of these environments.
So let's talk about getting our reps in. And when I first met you, I don't even know if you remember this conversation, but it stayed with me. This is so many years ago. And in when we had first met in the US, there were lots of conversations about lunch debt. that kids were going into lunch debt, we were talking about projects and initiatives and, how do you get your reps in? How do you show up? How do you get organized? And I think you said something like, if you see that problem, you can fix that. You can fix that. You don't have to feel stuck in it. You can go to the school district and pay off kids' lunch debt. If you have the funds, you can do it, and you can do it without fanfare. You can get a couple of your friends together who have money and you can go pay off kids' lunch debt. Yes, we have to change legislation. Yes, we have to get our governments to prioritize funding these social welfare mechanisms. But absent that, we all have agency and we can go pay off somebody's lunch debt.
Let's talk about, yeah.
So how and where do we get the reps in? I think a lot of people get stuck in, and I hear this with folks in philanthropy, but I hear this with most white collar workers. They're like, the job market is tight. I need the money. If you're in the US, I need the health insurance. And I am not going to make any waves because it jeopardizes my livelihood. But where else? Where can we start to get the reps in to
Here's one
build the
place to start.
confidence?
Start with your heart. That's one way to say it. I mean, like, earnestly, actually, not even like woo woo. Oh no, I'm feeling like my sacral, my chakras, what have you. No disrespect to people that feel, engage, and connect with all these different things. However you connect it. I mean, earnestly, like in the day to day, what makes you feel bad? What issues, what concerns, what struggles compel you to think this needs to be addressed? Start with your gut feeling about things that need to be focused on, and then distill that into very simple ways that you can make, you specifically the person listening to this podcast can make a small hop in the direction of progress on that issue. I usually talk about 3 examples. I'm going to bring up a 4th, right? First one is learning, right? If you want to learn how to do social change, figure out what you care about and just do a small hop into learning about that initiative a little bit more. You want to do more about that? Let's talk after this podcast. Number 2 is connecting with other people. Talk with others. Learn how to care about what they're saying, learn about how to get your point across, and learn about how you could potentially do something together, convincing someone to take a step they wouldn't be able to in any other conversation. Number 3 is creation. It means make something that doesn't exist before. I saw an Instagram of this husband that wanted to pay off his wife's debt. So he created a month-long endeavor for him to lip sync his own songs that everyone found out about. And then after a month of experience, they paid $3,000 over his wife's debt. He just did it because we can do things. You can do things. Take a small step in creating something. And the last one I'm going to focus on is issues of social change, right? You can make, you can learn, you can connect with others in different spaces, but you can also figure out what problems exist in the world and think about what would a world like where that thing didn't exist? And when it comes to kids' lunches, what is happening in my environment and what's a small hump that I can jump to move that forward? It is hard the first time. It is immeasurably easier the second and third and fourth and fifth time, just because you've put in the effort. Put in your reps where you are. Does that make sense, Aparna?
Yeah, to me, it makes sense because otherwise you're just sitting on your hands and getting frustrated, right? And I think that that first step is about getting
Yes,
out of inertia.
it
A
really
body in
does. It is.
motion stays
Here's
in
the point
motion.
behind this. Here's the point behind this.
It really
We are
does.
addicted to this boy. This little baby right here, constantly scrolling, and it is scaffolding our addiction to the things that we're consuming. You know what else is addicting? Doing stuff in the world. Just connecting with people. My micro activity is reaching out to old friends and saying, "How are you doing?" and having a conversation that is longer than 3 texts. Start and be like, "Hey, I might get something that I didn't get before." It's fun. Go have fun. Go have fun, friends. That's what it's all about.
I love the invitation to have fun. And I think, I feel one of the things that I've noticed is that once you break the inertia and your body is in motion, you find other
Yes.
people that are also in motion. And one of the best places for me over the past year has been this group called Donors of Color Network. And, when I first joined them, I I was a little bit starstruck, But also, I'm maybe like 15 years younger than really almost anybody else in the group. What's actually happened over the past year is I'm really learning from watching these grown-ups move through the community. I like how much they share, how generous they are, and the group chat is full of opportunities to be in community, to connect with community. One of the members of our group invited me to another town that's about, 45 minutes south of Seattle to go on a social justice bike ride. And I was like, "Oh, I don't have a bike." And he was like, "Yeah, no worries." And I show up and I got a bike. I was given a bike for the day. And I got to do this experience. And through that, I connected with somebody who does entrepreneurship classes and pitch lessons with folks that are incarcerated who are getting ready to be released into the world. And because we know that in the US and probably in other places, it's actually really hard to get a W-2 job with a record, they're teaching people how to be entrepreneurs and move towards having a livelihood. And I've gotten pulled into showing up for the day and helping people with their business plans. There is something about it that feels really fluid and it's not hard. I think that's the other thing that I've realized because I was, in my 20s, I did a lot of organizing and then there was this shift as I sort of entered the corporate phase of my life. Yeah, I sat on boards, but I wasn't close to the ground anymore. And in the last couple of years, and especially since I took my sabbatical, like I find myself coming much closer to the ground and it's a completely different experience.
I'm really glad you told me that story. Healthy communities feel like a forest instead of a castle.
Say more.
Shoot, I just forgot his name. I'm going to look it up right now.
It's not our new crush,
No,
Sarah
that's a fantastic book.
Lugrano.
But another fantastic book. I just talked about the book is called Relationality by David J. All right. And the most important resource I got from
Okay.
that reading, how powerful and healthy communities operate like biological ecosystems instead of entities that uh, are strong but brittle. And the reason why this matters is because you mentioned how easy it feels. And the truth of that in these types of spaces is it feels easy if you've been exposed to it. If you know better, you do better type situation, right? But many of the communities that we've been exposed to feel like castles with moats and with concrete brick and with people that feel like they're connected to people in certain specific ways. I'll give you an example. I went to Davos at the beginning of the year. They feel like sites of where things can't grow, where things can't evolve, specifically where people involved can't evolve and the experience of the community can't adapt to the future as it needs to. A really valuable tip I took away from evolving communities that's in the book as a litmus test is actually think about if there is a single charismatic, powerful person at the top that the community would die if they weren't there. If that's something that you feel is a part of that space, if there's a brittleness that exists there in the governance practices, in the conversations that people won't have, in the people that feel like they can't be questioned, then there's a problem with whether that community can grow something valuable and beautiful. And that's to say, there's so many types of communities that exist in the world. It is literally baked into our DNA to have community the appropriate way. And it's hard to get out of the communities that we're used to. All I'm saying is that as we are trying to change the world and connect with others to do the same thing, it is really valuable to make sure our environments help us cultivate that together because we must live what we're trying to create. And sometimes that takes practice.
Well, it always takes practice. One of the things that I've been saying as I encounter people that feel like it's impossible to make change in their workplaces is the future of work is
Yes,
ours to build.
very much so.
It's ours to build. You know, the future isn't happening to us, it's ours to build. And so if you're in community, I'll talk a lot about this experience of living in a neighborhood where you know your neighbors and you see your neighbors. And yesterday I had this very intimate experience of walking across the street to my almost 90-year-old neighbor to bring him some treats. And I hadn't seen him in a couple of weeks, and he saw me and he teared up and he started crying. And he said, I've had a hard couple of days. And I said, Are you okay? Like, is your health okay? And he said, Well, I'm just really missing my wife. She passed away a few years ago. And he said, There are days I'm by myself in this house and I really miss my wife. There's something really magical and about living in a neighborhood where you can experience that. Like, what it must be that old, to have lived this life and to experience such profound grief and loneliness. And then as a human being, being able to interrupt it and say, okay, like, let's stretch our legs. Let's just go for a little walk around the park, and yeah, let me just hold you for a second. And I have that with my neighbors where we share food and we care for each other. And when I say this to people, they're like, well, you're so lucky. Like, how do I have that? And the truth is, I didn't have it when I
You
first moved
cultivated
into
it.
this house.
You had to cultivate it.
I had to cultivate it. I had to cultivate it, and I feel lucky in a sense that I live around other people
Mhm.
who are also open to cultivating it, right? So I think that I got maybe a little bit lucky that there's a dynamic in this on this street where we can know each other, we can be in each other's homes, the kids can come in and out, we can check in on our elders. I know other people in my neighborhood also check in on this elderly man. I'm not the only one that does it. And but yeah, it took work, and I don't mean work in the sense of like, oh, it's so hard, but it does take. The little hop is you say hi to somebody and you introduce themselves. And like the next little hop is, like you ask them for a little favor. Like maybe you want them to come feed your cat when you're traveling, or you offer to water their plants when they're traveling. And then like from those little hops, like you're actually able to build a relationship where you can hang out and you want to hang out, right?
What
It
that
just brought
brings
that
up for
up for
me
me.
is how professionals can translate that into their practice, right? And professionals love frameworks. So I'm going to give you a nice little framework to support
Yes.
this activity with a story on top of it. I'm a weeb. I'm a nerd, been here a long time. So I'm going to talk to you about anime, specifically one anime called One Piece, one of the most revolutionary epics that the story has been created. One Piece is at the level of the Odyssey. I'll say it right now. It is the best manifestation of the anime trope, my friends are my power. If you're an anime weeb, you know exactly what this means and where it shows up in all of our favorite stories. But it is literally this concept of the main character that exercises social capacity, right? That knows how to connect, how to support, how to engage with other people, that can do things they can't. Hey, hey, there's something to learn there. And there's a framework for you to focus on how to do that appropriately. It's the community weaving canvas, I think is what it's called. And it talks about 5 different platforms, 5 different nodes for any different community to make sure that it can sustain into the future, right? First one is the fire, the thing that brings you together, the reason why you're even convening in the first place. What is your fire? If it's being at a farmer's market, if it means because you are really nerd about a nerdy topic, nerdy things, anime, whatever topic, that's the beast. What is the thing that brings you together? Food, exciting, fun sports, sports ball, whatever. The second point is the web. What relationships do you have in the space? They could be about weak tie relationships. Like you're just watching the game all at the same time. You leave and you enter, but you all cheer when the goal hits, right? Or they could be strong ties, like you consistently give cucumbers to a 90-year-old man that is connected to you. Make sure you connect them to Thanksgiving, right? How do you keep relationship with them and how are they consistent? Number 3 is the rhythm, the rituals and time. We get up, we fall asleep, time has no meaning. in these moments and times when everything is dying. But in our everyday, what are we consistently doing to make sure that we are dependable and we can depend on others? So that might mean holidays that you go with. That might mean if you meet every weekend, how can you make sure you connect with others in a way that ensures that dependence? Circles. What role are you playing? Right? I'm going to talk about my man Luffy. He has one guy that makes fantastic food. Luffy burns on the stove. There's another woman that knows exactly where they're going, and Luffy doesn't know what a cloud is. He cumulonimbus what? He'll get shocked. But what he can do is chart the way and make everyone excited for the path, like a good captain. What is your role in any one of these relationships? Are you fun? Are you kind? Are you an asshole? Make sure you know it and make sure that is something that people truly need in these relationships, because you got to keep the relationships. And the last piece, they call it the spiral. That means you can spiral outward, you can spiral inward. What are we journeying towards? As we're consistently connecting and engaging and building and relating to each other, what are we trying to build? Sometimes it just might be we're trying to be friends. Sometimes it might be defeat fascism. Sometimes it might be we're trying to put on a good show in our jazz band. The more you know what you're connected to and you can be the spark for the things that you're trying to build, the more likely you're going to attract other people that do the same and potentially are trying to do the same with you. That's a framework for community weaving. Go watch One Piece.
Dear listener, I too have been pushed
Go
into
read it.
the
Go read.
cult
Go
of
watch.
One Piece, and your girl is still here, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one framework that you walked us through. You have the most enormous library of social change and design assets I have ever seen in my life. When we met, I thought I really loved frameworks and tools. And then I met you and I was like, oh my gosh, there's another person who loves it even more and is even more intense about tracking all of these things. And I've learned so much from these tools and frameworks that you continuously share with me. People that are listening don't know this, so I'll share it with them. The fact that on almost a weekly basis, you're like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? What do you think about this? And it's been profound for my own journey as a researcher, as a contributor. Will you tell us about maybe 2 or 3 of your favorite social change resources,
Yeah.
sector agnostic? I'm going
First
to
thing I'm
link
gonna
them in
do
the
is
show
say
notes for people
to
to find.
check out the list in the first place, because I love sharing it with people that are nerds about the same topic. The there's a lot of great things out there, and keeping a library like this is a reminder to me that uh, this is a community of people, of organizations, of ideas that keep me humble and keep me motivated to help address the world. I love to make my own, but it's a reminder that a lot of people have thought about a lot of great things and put out in the world how other people can help thinking about those hard things as well, right? So I'm gonna give you 2 right now. One of my favorites is called Beautiful Trouble. It is a website, it's a book, it's a library for categorizing movement organizing methodologies, right? My favorite thing is to go to their toolbox and see their movement organizing methods as things people can use when they're trying to conduct an action or connect with others or address a particular issue. And they just want to get a little crazy with it, right? They just want to get a little fun, a little exciting with how they're putting themselves out in the world. Beautiful Trouble is the name. Another example, because I'm a gamer, I must own this part of myself, and the value of gaming as trying on different personas and agencies, like ability to understand power. I'm going to talk to you about Tesa Collective. They build movement organizing games for your social justice cause. So there's a lot of fantastic games that they've put out in the world, getting people to practice what it feels like to connect with others, to advocate with concerns, to for education, for selling their own games. Go to the website; they make cool stuff, and they can make your games if you're interested. So those 2. If you want more, go to the site. If you want even more, enter my inbox. Send me a DM.
Okay, there's a question here in the notes that I think you put here, and it says, is your action for you or
Yeah.
is your
Yeah.
action for we? And so I kind of
Sure.
want to end there. We've been talking about getting the reps in, being in community, really being a villager in earnest. And I want to apply using community honed skills and agency to resist the extractive nature of most modern workplaces. And how do we start to build more authentic connection inside of corporate spaces? So if somebody is sitting at their desk right now, holding a 50-slide strategy deck, at a minimum, it's got to have 50 slides, and they're feeling really disconnected from reality, what is one tangible pivot? What can they do? What's a pivot they can make today? How do they get to zoom out? Because they probably have to turn in this deck, right? They can't not have the deck.
Talk to
So
somebody about the deck. Talk to
what do
somebody
they
that
do?
wouldn't know about the deck, that is allowed to see the deck about the deck. All right. Talk to somebody about an issue outside of the deck once you've put in the deck. Talk about anything other than the deck in those other situations. Create something other than a deck. Create a deck at your house. All right. Read about decks. Read about wood. All right. Read about where the wood comes from and what you do with that work. Read about the AI algorithm that is creating your deck. Because a lot of y'all are creating decks not by yourself anymore, but you're using these AI platforms to build it for yourself. And we can tell because we can read your decks. Write about decks that matter to you.
Way to call people out. You are really
Listen,
calling some people
listen,
out right
we're all
now.
busy,
Okay.
and that's the
Yeah.
opportunity. Let me repeat that. We are all busy. We are all tired. We are all stressed. We're all struggling. And that is the opportunity. When you get exposed to things that make you try a little hard and you suck at it, or you talk to someone and it's not the right conversation, or you learn about something in an interesting way you didn't anticipate, you start inserting diversity in your life that reminds you that there's more than just the deck. And the deck is built off of countless other decks and foundations and relationships and electricity moving between computers and these types of conversations that can provoke you into thinking there's more to life than just decks. So remind yourself of that and think about what you can do with this new knowledge and what else you can affect instead of just submitting the deck. That's a start. Tell me how it goes. Tell me how it goes.
I can say if I never had to make one again, I would be just fine. But I know that there is a deck in my future. Last takeaways for people listening, and where can they find you if you
I
want to
want to
be
be found.
found?
I
Maybe you don't
absolutely
want to
want
be
to be found.
found.
Very much. Let me think about it. Let me think about the right words. Here's my takeaway. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of what you've dealt with. I'm proud of what you've built. I'm proud that we're here having this parasocial conversation together. There's more that we can do. Even if it's not done, I'm still proud because I know you still want to because you're at the end of this podcast. Let's figure out what we can get into together. Come connect.
I think you're one of those people that genuinely means come connect. I really want to know what you're up to. So, Pierce, Dr. Pierce,
Hey, thank
thank
you.
you for
You
this
know what?
conversation.
Back up. I have one more thing to say to everyone here. We talk a lot about effort, right? We talked a lot about embodied learning in these spaces. That means I'm going to give you some homework, all right, at the very end of this conversation. One, I want to meet you, all right? Two, I want to learn about what you care about and what you are struggling with in your work. Enter my DMs, go to my website, talk to me about what this resonated in you, and let's have a conversation about what we can do about it. I'm glad to do so as a knowledge architect, a community weaver, and a systems innovator. You can go to my website, piercegordon.me, and I can't wait to talk more with you about that.
I love it. I love this so much. I adore you, and I hope that everybody in the world has a thinking partner the way that I have you, because it does make my life so much richer. Thanks for everybody who has stayed with us this far. The Circle Back Club is produced by our amazing team, and and hosted by me, Aparna Rae. And yeah, folks, do your homework, get your reps in, stop analyzing things from afar, and I will be back in 2 weeks. Thank you.